The movie starts with college students enjoying a wild Halloween party. 4 friends, Paul, Chris, Gemma, and Eleanor, toast to the end of their term. Paul shares that he got a great internship, but Eleanor feels upset about a possible long-distance relationship. Luke comes over and offers drugs to Chris and Paul. Paul refuses at first, but then takes some. While the party goes on, Felix, a shy boy, watches Gemma from afar. Luke notices Felix and encourages him to talk to her. Luke gives Felix some drugs to help him gain confidence. Felix asks Gemma out, but she politely declines. She encourages him, saying he'll find someone who likes him for who he is. Meanwhile, Paul and Eleanor go upstairs to be intimate, but Paul passes out from the drugs. Feeling disappointed, Eleanor goes downstairs to play Truth or Dare. The bottle points at Felix, who chooses Truth. Eleanor asks him who he'd want to spend the night with, and when he picks Gemma, Chris gets angry and starts teasing him. Eleanor tries to calm Chris down, but he doesn't listen. Felix tries to explain, but Chris grabs him and they end up fighting. Gemma scolds Chris, but he doesn't feel sorry. Months later, the same group is invited to Felix's birthday party at his family's mansion, which they learn is wealthy and prestigious. A groundskeeper, Woodbridge, greets them and says the house is closed but points them to a cabin in the woods about half a mile away. Eleanor makes Paul carry her across a puddle to protect her expensive shoes. Chris tries to reconnect with Gemma by offering to carry her too. When they reach the cabin, Felix's brother Justin greets them and explains that Felix is still in Chile, volunteering at a hospital. The birthday party was supposed to be a surprise, but Felix's flight got cancelled, and Justin forgot to tell everyone. Meanwhile, Paul starts drinking beer, and Justin opens champagne for the group, convincing them to stay. He sits with the other guys, revealing that he's in the army and has served 3 tours in Afghanistan. They continue making small talk until Justin observes Chris and Gemma's relationship, mentioning that she's Felix's type. Chris laughs at the comment, making Justin ask whether he thinks Gemma is too good for his brother. Then, when Luke comes over to offer some nitrous, Justin excuses himself and joins the 2 women. Eleanor and Gemma show interest in Justin because of his looks, even going as far as saying that they're very close friends of Felix. Eleanor even touches Justin's muscles and forces Gemma to do the same. However, she pulls on Gemma a little too hard and ends up making her spill her champagne on Justin. Eleanor has planned the whole thing so that Gemma could make a move on Justin, following him as he goes to change. They subtly flirt with each other until Luke interrupts them, saying they will use the balloons as drugs. However, Justin states that he has a better idea. They all sit in a circle to play Truth or Dare, and the bottle first points at Eleanor. Chris dares her to make out with Gemma, so the 2 women kiss. When they spin the bottle again, it points at Gemma. Chris asks if she'll take him back, but she simply says she won't. Then Justin spins the bottle and deliberately points it at himself, saying he's choosing Truth. Justin confesses that Felix isn't in Chile. He actually hanged himself in that cabin. At first, some of them laugh in discomfort, not knowing how to react. But Justin makes it clear that he's not joking. Because of their family background, they've decided to keep the incident a secret. When Paul asks why they're there, Justin straightforwardly tells them he wants to know what made Felix do it. The group realizes that they've been set up, and they're also unaware that Justin has a gun. Justin gives them a postcard that says Truth or Dare, alongside a swear word. Justin tells them that he found it in Felix's pocket when he hanged himself. Chris attempts to walk out the door, but Justin blocks his path. Fed up, he tries to punch Justin, but the latter is a trained soldier and easily retaliates. Paul tries to help, but Justin finally pulls out his revolver and shoots him in the leg, ignoring Gemma as she begs him not to hurt anyone. Paul then takes out his phone to call for help, so Justin expertly shoots his phone away and ends up blasting part of his finger. Justin keeps asking about the postcard, but nobody owns up to it, trying to convince him that they have nothing to do with it. He then gives them some privacy to talk about it and leaves the cabin with Luke. Outside, Justin asks Luke whether he sent the postcard, but he immediately denies it. Although Justin disapproves of his actions, he lets Luke off the hook and just asks him who he thinks sent the postcard. Meanwhile, the group starts arguing about the postcard as well. Paul urges his friends to stop fighting and focus on getting out. He orders them to keep twisting their hands out of the tape, and then instructs Gemma to reach the workbench behind her and look for some tools they can use to escape. Unfortunately, Gemma's chair topples over, alerting Justin outside. When the 2 men get back inside, Paul tries to reason with Justin to let them go, but he's just getting started. First, Justin spins the bottle, which points at Gemma, so he asks her opinion on who sent the postcard. When she says she doesn't know, Justin slaps her. With no other choice, Gemma blames Chris. Because of this, everyone starts putting the blame on Chris. However, Chris manages to clear his name by pointing out that he was in Spain when the postcard was sent from London. Chaos then ensues within the group as Eleanor tries to keep pointing fingers. So Justin silences them with a warning shot and continues the game. When the bottle points at Chris, he chooses dare, so Justin takes out the acid test. Meanwhile, Justin inserts a tube down Gemma's throat that connects to two containers, one of which contains tap water while the other contains battery acid. Justin dares Chris to choose between the containers, but he won't give in. Eventually, Chris chooses the left container, which is luckily the correct answer. Moments later, Justin spins the bottle again, and when it points at Eleanor, she chooses truth. Justin asks her who should take the acid test next, but she says no one should take it. However, when Justin tells her that she's going to take the acid test if she doesn't choose someone, she ends up choosing Chris. Chris confesses that he sent the postcard, but Justin knows he's lying because he was able to clear his name with an alibi. Paul then speaks up, telling Justin that none of them were friends with Felix because nobody liked him. Paul calls Felix a creep. Justin makes Paul choose the container for Chris's acid test, but he fails to answer correctly. Everyone cries out as they watch Chris writhe in pain, blood coming out of his mouth before he finally dies. Before Justin can continue the game, a knock disrupts them. Luke's drug supplier friend Jonesy has followed his GPS and asked to join the party. Justin invites Jonesy to join them, but he refuses and uses pepper spray on him. However, Justin quickly gains the upper hand when he strikes back. Then, as a test for Luke, Justin gives him the revolver and tells him to shoot Jonesy. Reluctantly, Luke ends up killing Jonesy. Gemma cuts herself free and prepares to release the other two, but Eleanor tells her to run because there's no time. Gemma does as she's told, which upsets Paul because they could have escaped already. Luke is scared about the consequences, but because Justin promises him that his powerful family will cover for them, he finally gets Luke completely on his side. They then go back inside, dragging Jonesy's body in. When Justin realizes that Gemma has escaped, he immediately runs to the car to track her down, leaving Luke to watch Eleanor and Paul. Gemma runs to the mansion and finds Felix, who is still alive. However, he's bedridden and almost fully paralyzed. Watching the group's demise on a screen, Gemma confronts him about this cruelty, but he can't answer. Instead, Felix warns Gemma with his eyes that someone is behind her, and when she turns around, she sees Woodbridge pointing a shotgun at her. He was the one who saved Felix, and he now takes care of him after he tried to kill himself. Gemma tries to run away and hides under the bed before kicking the groundskeeper. She then takes Felix as a hostage, noticing that he has a small blade taped to his finger, successfully scaring Woodbridge away. Gemma takes the shotgun and leaves slowly, but the groundskeeper is waiting to surprise her. They fight, and Gemma accidentally shoots him. She goes back to Felix and asks for a phone. Felix points to the computer, but just as she tries to call for help, the internet goes down. She realizes Justin is caught up with her. Gemma tries to escape again, but Justin pulls her back into Felix's room. There, he snaps Gemma's neck while Felix closes his eyes, not wanting to see it happen. Eleanor then remembers that Luke sent the postcard. Luke admits he did it as a joke because he was jealous of Felix's wealth. Eleanor asks Luke for drugs, but it's a trick to get him close so she can bite his finger off. She frees herself and fights Luke, pushing him hard. He slips and hits his head on a rake, and Eleanor frees Paul and takes the gun. Eleanor tries to escape with Paul, who is hurt, but Justin returns with Felix in a wheelchair. Eleanor shoots Justin in the shoulder. When she gets close to kill him, he knocks the gun away and stabs her with a screwdriver. They wrestle on the ground, but Paul helps Eleanor by stabbing Justin. Eleanor then pours acid on Justin's head and soon he's tied to a post. Paul just wants to go home, but Eleanor forces him to the car, wanting to talk to the brothers. After he leaves, Eleanor asks Felix to play Truth or Dare. She wants him to look at the person he fears most, and he looks at his brother. Eleanor reveals the truth. When her father went bankrupt, she asked Felix for help. She recorded herself kissing Felix to blackmail him and made him do things with Paul while he was unconscious. Afraid his homophobic brother would see the video, Felix tried to kill himself. After revealing everything, Eleanor gives Felix a grenade, attaching the pin to his finger. She walks away and gets in the car as Felix blows himself up. With tears in her eyes, Eleanor drives away with Paul and Gemma's dead body. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.